Hello and welcome to another Facilitate Exchange interview. Today's guest is Haro Hartounian. How are you doing, Haro?
I'm good. Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Good to see you. Haro is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of New Jersey-based BioCentriq. The company provide much needed development and manufacturing support for the cell and gene therapy industry, particularly early stage biotech in our space. They're a relatively new company. They entered the field in October with a virtual ribbon cutting ceremony, and they stem out of the New Jersey Innovation Institute. Thank you so much for joining us today, Haro.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mike.
So let's kick things off. Tell me a little bit about BioCentriq. How did the company get started, and what's your focus right now?
The concept of launching something like this started three years ago, and we looked at where the medicine is going, the future of the medicine, and there were a lot of products that companies were developing in the cell therapy and gene therapy, and being in New Jersey, we felt that eventually these companies are going to need some sort of a center that they can come and develop their product or even produce their clinical grade materials for their clinical trials. So I was able to convince the university NJIT and to invest millions of dollars, and also convince the technology developers and companies to do in-kind donation, and we started the construction of the facility, and it took us 1.5 years really to build the facility and make sure that we can qualify and make it ready for clinical production or process development.
Nice. So there's a bit of a collaborative approach there with the institute itself, solution providers, and so forth, to really try and bring something together.
Right. I actually, the first thing I did was reached out to the people. As I mentioned, I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, and I know a lot of people. So I reached out to those people and I asked them, so how can you help me? Because this is what we're planning to do. And they were very open to the idea. They were very cooperative. For example, Paul Biotech donated $3.5 million to equipment, cash. So, and then other companies, they did. And some colleagues that they were working, the big pharma, helped me to design the manufacturing facility.
Oh, wow.
So it was just kind of a collaborative, and that's the objective of the center, really, Mike, is to bring academia, NJIT, Rutgers, Princeton, all the universities, industry, technology developers, and regulatory agencies all together to address the manufacturing challenges in cell and gene therapy. And that's the objective of this center.
Nice. So let's just take a step back. It's clear that you're a well-connected person. What's your background?
Well, I have a PhD in chemical engineering, and I've been, as I said, I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. Worked for big pharma, mid-sized biotech companies, and founded 3 companies. And 3.5 years ago, I joined New Jersey Innovation Institute, which is part of NJIT University. I'm also an adjunct associate faculty at Columbia University. I teach biopharmaceutical product development courses and biotechnology courses. And I'm also affiliated faculty at the College of Arts and Sciences at NJIT. So that's overall my background. And I do a bunch of other stuff on the side related to biotechnology.
So you definitely don't like to sit still. It seems like it's important to keep yourself busy.
I love life sciences. I love biotechnology. I love what I do. And I think the BioCentriq is really, it's a culmination of a team effort. And I led that work, and I'm so proud of what our team at NJIT, NJII, and BioCentriq, they have done to make this happen.
Nice. So tell me a little bit more about the facility. Our community there, obviously, the need for capacity is really important, but the need for capacity right now, and knowing what the time frames are and so forth, is of paramount significance as well. So what's going on at the facility right now?
Very good question, because I think about the need, and when I was thinking about this concept of the biocentric, I had no idea that we're going to have a pandemic,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
So the pandemic and the launching of our virtual launch of the center coincided. And if you look at the capacity right now, most of the CDMO's capacities are focused on COVID-19 vaccine production, COVID-19 related. So the companies that they have products in cell and gene therapy, they're looking for a center like ours
mm,
to come and use it, because only 5% capacity is left right now. So makes Biocentric very attractive for the small biotech companies and big pharma also. Last night I had a phone conference with a big pharma. They're asking us to help them to develop a product. So anyway, so as far as capacity, Biocentric becomes very attractive. Where the center right now, we have qualified our clinical production facilities. It's an ISO 7 certified facility. There are two suites with different air handling systems, and it's ready, qualified, all the documentation, GMP compliances, resources, trained, everything is ready. So if you have, Mike, if you know a company that's looking for clinical production, please call us. We're ready to start a project for them.
nice.
Then we have another section of the Biocentric, which is the process R&D pilot plant. As you know, it's very important. Process R&D plays a very important role. Companies, they develop their product in bench scale, correct? And they want to take it to the next step, scale it up, and they take it to the clinic. So between the bench scale and the clinical production, process R&D takes the product, make sure that they can develop the product consistently, make the product consistently, and then transfer to clinical production. So we have a very nice state-of-the-art pilot plant. One thing I forgot to mention, Mike, that we are equipment agnostic. So companies, they can use technology developer X's equipment for the production. We have them. Company has another approach. They want to use different equipment. We have them. So you can imagine any type of cell therapy, gene therapy equipment that you can imagine. We have them in our pilot plant, in our clinical production.
Nice. Yeah, you mentioned your relationship with Paul, and the fact that you've collaborated with tech providers that you've built a network of amongst the years. And in terms of collaborating with these types of providers, why is that important?
Oh, extremely. That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Because at the end of the day, we all work to make the product available for patients, correct? So it comes down to the cost. It comes down to the how fast and how cost effective we can manufacture these products for the patients. So technology developers play a very important role to address the cost of goods, the manufacturing time, yield, all those things. So they're constantly developing novel technologies in the area of cell and gene therapy manufacturing. So it's very important. I mean, I always wanted to have that relationship, because you're working with them, you're learning about the new technology that's coming out that will help to, for example, cut the cost by half. So that's what I started working with them from day one. And I think that will help the patients, will help the companies to reduce their cost, improve the yield, all those stuff. So that's very important.
Nice. So launched with a really strong sort of pilot strategy, and got all the sort of latest equipment in there that you mentioned.
That's correct.
Have you
and
got?
we are working on companies that are developing novel technologies that it will come out in a couple of years. We just signed an agreement with the MIT-based company Kytopen, which has a non-viral transfection process. This is going to be huge if it's successful. So we act as kind of a developing. We're not a typical CDMO. We're an R&D clinical production facility. So we work with these companies and we act as an alpha or beta site for testing the new technologies before it gets to the market. So it gives us an opportunity to test stuff. And as I said, they play a very important role, technology developers.
Innovation isn't necessarily always developing something brand new. It's like consistently evolving and always being there to help take something that's a seed idea and helping it evolve and develop. Is there something about innovation? Because obviously, you stemming out of the New Jersey Innovation Institute. Is there something about that that's just in your, in the mission or in the culture of the organization?
Absolutely. It's a very good question. Again, I think innovation plays a very important role. We are innovative people. We try to develop novel concepts, novel technologies to make sure, again, to help the patients at the end. So innovation, it plays a very important role. We work with the companies that are innovative. And as I said, there are so many other technologies that I cannot mention, full disclosure, but I think there are innovative ideas that the companies, standardization of the technologies, stuff that eventually will help the companies to develop their products cost effectively and faster to the market and patients. So absolutely, of course,
Nice.
we have a very solid team that are very innovative. They come up with new ideas and share that with our clients, and I think that's also another angle that we bring to the table.
Nice. I spoke to a CDMO this morning that is already at full capacity. If in the next year your capacity is stretched, like where do you go from there? Have you got rooms to expand at all?
All right, we've been talking about it. I think, we just launched this facility recently, correct? And we signed a couple of major agreements that we already in the clinical production side as well as process R&D. As an entrepreneur myself, I really want to show a track record first before we talk about expansion. I think we need to spend a couple of projects, show the companies that we're capable, we can deliver what they expect us, and we will expand at that time. As far as expansion concept, strategic planning, we already started. We believe that New Jersey, our center, will be expanded in the next 3 years. Will provide services for a larger community of the regenerative medicine companies in New Jersey and nationally and internationally. So to answer your question, yes, we will expand. To answer your question, when we're going to expand, that will really depends on how well we do in our first 2 projects, to show the companies that we have a solid center with a solid people and solid strategy.
Nice. So just talking about the projects that you're working on right now since you've opened, and maybe even some of the prospects that you're talking to at the moment, and people that you may have engaged with before you opened, when you started thinking, we need to be here to fix this problem. What do you see as the sort of challenges and also the opportunities that are facing cell therapy heads of manufacturing and heads of process development and so forth right now?
I honestly, Mike, I think the challenge that the cell and gene therapy manufacturing people are facing are workforce.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
It's a big challenge right now. They cannot hire people. It's a shortage of people in the process R&D, manufacturing, regulatory agency, regulatory affairs, quality. So it's a big challenge, right? The other challenge that, of course, technical challenge that they're facing is mostly in the cost of goods. It's a very labor-intensive process, and eventually companies are working on automating it, and there are some technologies out there that are they have a full automated process for cell therapy. The cost of the plasmids, the gene for viral vector. I mean, there are a lot of issues that I mean, I can spend an hour and then discuss about all the challenges and technical challenges the companies are facing. But I think companies are getting there. I think eventually, I believe that the process, some processes, for example, leukapheresis can be standardized. They can standardize some of the processes, unit operations. They can maybe fully automate the manufacturing and the cell therapy manufacturing. I think the viral vector part in gene therapy, the cost and yields are challenging, and the companies are working to make it better. And I think, you know, you can imagine cell therapy, monoclonal antibody 20 years ago, they had the same issues. Right now, monoclonal antibody production is piece of cake. So we're almost there. It's going to take another, I would say, 5-6 years to address those challenges and make it easier for the companies to manufacture their product and make it available for patients.
Is there an element of you thinking, seeing, is there an element of deja vu for you, seeing as gone through the biologics era already?
That's correct. It is, and I'm seeing the same challenges. I'm seeing the same discussions. But I think with the new technologies and AI and machine learning and all those things, I think things are going to get faster, easier to address. So I believe that we are facing a bunch of challenges, but challenges are solvable. I think they can be solved.
Nice.
Quickly.
On one of the challenges that you mentioned, you talked about the workforce. And yeah, you didn't slip it in already, but you at the New Jersey Innovation Institute, you're directly addressing that challenge via education as well, right?
Absolutely. I think this is something that I started when while we were building our facility, Mike, we had a project with the big pharma on the workforce development. So because I wanted to generate revenue so I can help the construction of the facility. But more importantly, the objective was the workforce is an issue. And I think the companies are growing like mushroom in the regenerative medicine. And every company, if you look at the websites, every company is looking for process engineers, biologists, scientists, and there are not many of them out there. So we started the program. We've been training employees that they work in the big pharma, that they have worked on solid dosage forms or biologics, but they haven't worked on cell therapy. So we're training them, retraining them, so they can reposition their position into organization and go work on those projects. Then also we partnered up with Paul Biotech, for example. We have an ongoing training, which is very similar to NIBRT in your neck of the wood. That we have a program in viral vector process development, very attractive program. We have been always sold out. We also, for the first time, launched a professional master's program in cell and gene therapy sciences at NJIT. No. And the folks from industry with a bachelor degree, they come and get their master's degree in cell and gene therapy, and they can go back and work. So to me, it's very important. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I build companies. I'm a technical guy, but also I'm a teacher. I teach in the university. So for me, workforce development also plays a very important role in my mind.
Nice, brilliant. And yeah, on the topic of workforce development, are you recruiting at the moment? And are there particular types of roles that you're looking for, or types of people?
At BioCentriq, yes, we are. Yeah, we are constantly expanding, just because of the projects that we signed the contracts for. So we're hiring people in the process R&D with a biochemical, chemical engineering background, biochemists, biologists, quality control, quality assurance. regulatory folks. So our door is open for talented people to come and help us to make BioCentriq more successful.
Nice. And are there, we talked about innovation, but are there particular traits that you look for in the talent that you're recruiting for?
I think people who are excited about cell and gene therapy and excited about helping the patients at the end of the day, they're welcome to come and work for us.